Hello everyone, and welcome to the Barrel Room here at the Two Sisters Winery. I'm Dieter, I'm the Estate Sommelier here at the winery, and I'm excited to talk to you today about the new release of our Blanc de Franc Sparkling. This is the 2019 vintage, and this is a wine that we are especially proud of, a wine that has very significant place in our winemaker Adam Pierce's heart, as it was his creativity that drove the creation of this wine and has in fact created a category that previously didn't exist in Niagara sparkling. This is a wine that's made from the Cabernet Franc grape, but what makes it special is that it's actually a white wine. There's no skin contact here, so none of the pigment that comes from the skins of the grape actually ends up in the wine. We had a bit of fun with the name of this wine because we really were referencing the great wines known as Blanc de Noir, white of black, that are made in the region of Champagne. It's a time-honored methodology that has been very popular for centuries, but really hasn't been practiced very much here in Niagara. So again, it was Adam's creativity that really led us to explore this and has created a wine that our customers love, that the staff love, and certainly is something that we think is very, very special. So I want to taste this with you today. It's an opportunity really to delve into something that is quite different than what many of you may have had in the past. It's a wine that, because it's made in the Champagne method, it spends a lot of time in production. I think few people really are aware of how long it takes to make a high quality sparkling wine, and I just want to walk you through that process. We start, when we make this wine, by making a base wine in a stainless steel tank, and that's done with an early harvested Cabernet Franc grape. We press those grapes very carefully, very gently, in order to make sure that none of the color from the skins gets into the wine itself, or at that point, the juice. We put that juice into a tank, we let it ferment, but only to a low level of alcohol, to only about 8.5%. Then that low alcohol wine is put into the bottle with some yeast and some sugar. We put a temporary closure on the bottle, a crown cap, or what many of you would recognize as a beer cap. And a second fermentation is allowed to happen in the bottle. That fermentation produces carbon dioxide as a byproduct. And it's that carbon dioxide that ultimately gives us the beautiful bubbles in the wine. But that takes time. In this case, the wine was actually left to mature for 726 days. Now that number does change, and I know you're probably thinking, what, 726? Well, that comes from when the wine was actually disgorged, when the yeast was taken out of the bottle. And on our sparkling wines, you'll always find a little sticker on the back that will tell you exactly how many days the wine was left with the yeast. We always do multiple disgorgings. We leave the wine on the lees for longer periods of time as the vintage progresses. So this was what we call the first disgorging, and that was 726. Now we will periodically do more disgorging, so you'll see that number go up, and that changes the character of the wine somewhat, and really that's the subject of a whole nother discussion that I hope that I'll be able to have with many of you in person at some point. But at this point, we have created the wine with almost 2 years of aging, and that allows a lot of the flavor development that we're looking for. So I think I want to taste this wine and talk a little bit about some of the very specific flavors that we're going to see in the wine. First of all, let me draw your attention to the brilliant mousse that we get. It's fine, it's pronounced, and it really transitions to some beautiful, gentle bubbles that will originate from the bottom of the glass. Now this is a sparkling glass, so it's etched in the middle of the bottom. And if you choose a glass that's specifically designed to be used for sparkling wine, there will always be an etch in the bottom of the glass, and that'll make sure that you get that beautiful trail of bubbles that runs right up the middle of the wine once it's poured. And that'll go on for a long time, and that's the beauty of what we call champagne method or traditional method wines. We get that wonderful mousse on the pour, and then we get those very pronounced bubbles that are going to last for an extended period of time, give you that elegance, and that's certainly going to contribute to the way you perceive the wine as well. So when we taste sparkling wine, there are things we want to be aware of. Of course, I've been talking about it a lot. One of the things that's happening here is there's a lot of carbon dioxide in the glass itself. It's coming out of the wine. That acts as a bit of a blanket. So if you go to smell this wine, you're going to get some interference from that carbon dioxide. So it's hard to nose a sparkling wine the way we would other wines. So I'm going to come back to that in a moment. I do just want to pause and again draw your attention to the fact that this is basically a white wine. It has a very subtle pink hue, but given the fact that this was made with a red grape, with Cabernet Franc, it's an incredibly beautiful color, an unexpected color, and part of the appeal of this wine. So now, you know, we're gonna kind of fast track to tasting this wine because it's not gonna give us a lot of aromatics, but I'm gonna ask you to pause. As you go to drink it, for that first tasting, I want you to pause as the wine gets close to your lips, because that's when it's gonna kind of break through that carbon dioxide blanket and you're gonna have the opportunity to get the best aromatics off this wine. So close to your mouth, close to your nose, take a sniff. Beautiful opulent notes on this wine, very inviting, some very pronounced citrusy notes. There's a hint of green apple here, but most interesting, there are nuances of red fruit, and that comes from the Cabernet Franc grape. Things like red currant, white raspberry, really inviting, and that's the character of this wine that makes it special. When you taste it, the first thing you're gonna get is that fantastic mouthfeel that only sparkling wine gives us. Effervescence that tends to really explode on your palate. Your mouth has the ability to cause more of the carbon dioxide to come out of solution. So as you put sparkling wine on your tongue, it actually creates more bubbles, if you will. And that's the wonderful texture that we really love about sparkling wine. But immediately behind that, you get all those great flavors, things that we smelled, even though it was brief, the citrus, the green apple, and those hints of beautiful red fruit coming through. That's the complicated side of this. Brilliant acidity, it's bright, it's crisp, kind of coats your whole tongue and gives you that sensation of just a bit of a tickle and nice long finish. And that's what I'm getting. Even though I'm talking, I'm still tasting the wine, and it's lingering. It's lingering, especially on the back of my palate. That's where we taste bitterness. And with this wine, there's some wonderful notes of citrus zest there that tend to linger. And when you put it all together, it's a wine that really wants you to get back to it and take another mouthful. So I think that's something that you're all going to experience. I'm going to do it now because the second mouthful of any wine really tends to be when we get the fullest impression of what the wine is all about. Again, that beautiful texture, and that's the distinguishing thing about sparkling wine. The mouthfeel, the way we perceive the wine changes dramatically because of the bubbles. And from beginning to end of the tasting experience, it's different because of that. All that structure, the acidity that I talked about, the bitterness on the finish, they're all there. And in between, you've got the flavors that come through on the palate. The acidity really tends to kind of amplify those flavors a little bit. The citrus notes, that green apple, the citrus zest, And I just love those hints of red fruit that you get on this wine. Really exceptional. An amazing tasting experience, something that I hope all of you will enjoy in the very near future. It's a wine that can be enjoyed under most circumstances, whether you're sipping, whether you're having a meal. A sparkling wine like this has something of a neutral flavor profile that makes it work with just about anything that you want to enjoy, whether you're having shellfish or appetizers to start a meal, with main courses, white meats, pork, anything like that, you're going to enjoy it. Pasta of all kinds. And I'll also leave you with the thought, this is a great wine to enjoy with desserts. So under any circumstances, enjoy our Blanc de Franc Sparkling. I think you're going to find that it's amazing on its own, a great partner with whatever you're going to be enjoying for food. And with the holidays coming, it's a wine that I know is going to fit into your holiday plans really well. So thanks for joining me today. I hope to see you here at the winery in person very soon. But in the meantime, I hope you had the opportunity to enjoy our Blanc de Franc Sparkling from 2019. Cheers, everyone.